guys? Welcome back to another episode of Get the Puck Out. Tape your stick, tickle my dick. Jack, what's going on, buddy? What's happening, man? A big week here since we've been away. I want to thank everybody who watched the first episode back. It was Electric Factory. The response was great, and we're happy to be back. But how are you doing today, man?
Oh, I'm pumped to be back. The Twitter is a war zone today.
Dude, Twitter is a battlefield today. We got Jimmy Murphy versus Mark Madden. We got some black and gold guys where you used to write. One of them coming at me. We'll save that for later. But I want to talk about right off the hop after missing 10 games, the Toronto Maple Leafs are welcoming back Joe Thornton. You know what? I thought Thornton looked pretty decent flying around with the young guys early in the season. They lost Thornton, they lost Simmons, but the Leafs have kept on rolling. Big game for them versus the Senators. Getting Thornton back, obviously, never going to hurt a team. As old as he is in that, you're not going to be in any worse position if you got Joe Thornton playing on the third or fourth line or taking a spot up next to the kids and just making the rest of the lineup balanced here. Jack, we're 15 games into the season here. The Leafs are 11-3-1, 23 points on the season. Their goal differential is a plus 15. They're 6-2 at home. They're 5-1-1 on the road, 8-1-1 in their last 10 games. Are you surprised at what you've seen from this Toronto Maple Leafs team? I know we were both kind of like the jury's out. Are these guys going to be too old? And we'll see what the durability is like late in the season. But we're 15 games through, which is almost a third of the season when you look at it retroactive to 56 games. Impressed so far or what? I mean, I think
I've been pretty impressed by them. In the older guys have shown that they're going to help out that locker room. Joe Thornton has clearly had a big impact. Same with Simmons. It was tough seeing him go down, and Simmons was looking incredibly good. The best we've seen from Simmons in the last couple of years at the time of his injury. So that was kind of a heartbreaker to see him go down. But I think the jury is still out on the Leafs because right now that Canadian division is not a super tough division. I mean, they got the Montreal Canadiens there, and they're going to go back and forth. Those are the top two teams in that division right now, without a doubt. But if Toronto does get out of that Canadian division, how are they going to stack up versus these other teams around the NHL? Is that defense good enough? I know Hall has had a pretty great season so far, and he looks spectacular. But is that enough to put the Leafs over the edge of, say, the Toronto or Tampa Bay Lightning or Boston Bruins? I'm not so sure. I would think not.
I would think not as well. And I mean, yeah, the way that this is all gonna pan out, you could see some crazy Stanley Cup finals and things like that. But I mean, if you're a Maple Leafs fan, you got to be feeling good about it. They still let up goals though. You know, the games get tighter in the playoffs and the scoring gets lower, which is where they always have their hard time. But so far this season, they've been incredible. They've smashed my expectations that I had for them. Not that I thought they were going to be bad. It's just I didn't think they would look so. They look fluid for the first time. They look like a team, like a well-oiled machine. They can roll four lines. They can roll out their defense. They don't have to worry about necessarily who's on the ice in certain situations anymore. With having guys like Thornton, when they had Simmons, Jason Spezza gets put on waivers, guy bounces back the game or two later and pots a hat trick. Like they've got a good mix of veteran guys there. It's good to see. You brought up the Vegas Golden Knights as a top team. First off, I want to say they've been incredible off the hop. I think they're a great team. I think they're going to be one of the teams we're talking about late here. Could be a Stanley Cup final Stanley Cup winner favorite right now, the Golden Knights. But can we talk about those gold helmets? Like, my God, those were fucking terrible.
I hate the Notre Dame helmets. I hate any of these college teams. I know people like to point out, I went to Alabama. Their hockey team uses their college football helmets. I still think it's stupid. I think those are atrocious. I think those golden helmets coming into the NHL was very college-ish, and I don't even like when they do it in college. It was tacky, stupid. There's no place for that in the NHL. Come on. Like, look professional.
Yeah, it was like there is like doing it up and hamming it up for the fans, and like, you know, the third jerseys, for example, the retros, the throwbacks or whatever, like I get those. Like you said though, those are almost a disgrace. Like they're horrible. They made like watching the game feel bad. But you know what, I'll say too, the Dallas Stars new third jerseys or whatever, when they're on the ice, those green, it actually hurts my eyes. I don't know who designed those, and I'm not even like kidding, not even trying to be a baby. Like legitimately watching them in that thing bugs my eyes. Like I got sensitive eyes. The common person, it's probably fine, but like it actually bothers my eyes. So it's like, you know what? Those fucking those Golden Knights helmets were just ugly. They didn't actually like blind me or anything like that. But speaking of blinded, I think everybody was blindsided today when Larry Brooks, Brooksie, anybody in New York knows Brooksie from his exchanges with with
Torts.
John Torts, with Tortorella, fucking Brooksie. He wrote a interview, that first one from Tony D'Angelo. You know, it was D'Angelo coming out and taking responsibility for some of the things he's done. Now, listen, this kid's had a lot of chances. I think he's used to having these kind of statements. That's irrelevant. The problem that I had was the outrage at Brooksy for writing it. You live in America, I live in Canada. This is North America. We're Western civilization, and the number one foundation, the number matter of foundations, like the number one foundations that we apply to our principles and what make our both of our countries so great, is we have a free press. We tell both sides of the story, and then the people, us, are free to look at what we want to look at and make the educated decision or make up our mind based on the facts. But people being mad at Brooksy, who I don't even think that much of as a reporter, who, you know, and Tony D'Angelo, a guy that I think has run out of chances because of the bad shit he's done. You saw the interview with his dad. The kid comes from that place. He has these definite hatred issues or something for sure. But you know what? It's Larry Brooks's job as a journalist to give you the other side. We know what happened in New York with Gorgiev, with Kreider, the whole bit. He got waived. He's off the team. He's gone. Now, as a journalist, you go to the guy who was exiled from the team and say, what happened? How you feeling? What are you doing different? That is journalism, you fucking assholes. Like, to the people trying to cancel Larry Brooks today, do research. Be a journalist like Brooksy. I don't even like Brooksy that much, but
I
be a
know.
fucking journalist and be smart. And you know, Jack, I'll give you your thing, but then we're gonna go into those guys that you used to write with, because one of them fucking came at me, and it's just like, this is what's wrong. And this is why the athletes are getting mad, is because people just, and the mainstay journalists, you know, Brooksy ended up sending an inbox to, they wouldn't even tell me. I said to him, I said, which militant feminist journalist said this? Was it Marissa and Jemmy? Is it James Myrtle? Like who did he send that to? Because I bet you they're right. And what he said was, I bet you pretend you're tolerant. So I don't even know what they said, but these people who preach tolerance, preach their, you know, hockey's for everyone. Hockey is for only the people that think like them. Fuck them. I
Yeah.
don't even like Brooksy, but Brooksy had a job to do, and Brooksy did his job. And now what NHL teams can do is look at what Tony said. Look at what the Rangers said and decide, do we want to give this kid another chance? Should we bring him into the organization? Because everybody likes to laugh at Tony D'Angelo. Jack, he had 50 something points last year. He was fourth in scoring on the back end.
Exactly. We're just going to pretend that Tony D'Angelo's like not a great hockey player now. Yeah, he had a rough start to the season. He got walked a couple times. He could be better in his own defensive end. So could Torrey Krug. He could be better in his own defensive end too. The
Yep.
guy can put up points. And
Yes.
teams like that, and teams want to have a guy like that on their team that can provide offense from the back end.
And listen, he has to be a better teammate inside the locker room. It's clear there was problems there. You can tell. You know, I don't like bringing in the race stuff, so I'm really not going to. But Keandre Miller, you could tell there was a celebration where D'Angelo came over, and he was kind of like, you could tell there was a dynamic off there. And if I was a person of color, I would feel it too because of his past. And it's like, those are things he's going to have to live with. But to rip on Brooksy, and this is just one thing. So before all you assholes come out here, like I know you're going to do, and be like, Chris Mancuso defended Tony D'Angelo. I'm not saying that. I think Tony D'Angelo is an asshole who's run out of chances in his career. But Larry Brooks, put it in the box, people. Larry Brooks covering His side of the story is his job, you monumental jackasses. And I say that, Jack, because we're going to turn it to the black and gold hockey.com guy, Andrew. I don't even know what his last name is. They have a few guys named Andrew, though. Do you know what this guy's last name is?
I want to say it starts with a J. I can't remember off the top.
Anyway,
of my
Andrew
head,
J. Andrew J. No, nobody knows because he's fucking irrelevant loser. Anyway, he tried taking what I said, just this, and then tagging my comment where I said which female feminist, radical, aggressive, militant journalist did he send you pretend to be tolerant to? Because he's probably right about that. Tried to spin that as in I agree with Tony D'Angelo. It's like that's a Brooksie thing, one. And two, it's just the spin job that comes from these people. They're all rats. These people is rats.
Yeah, and it's like you can say that Tony D'Angelo is not a good person. You
Yes.
can't really say that he's not a good hockey player. You can say that Brooksie isn't your favorite journalist and you don't really like to read him, but at the same time, you can't say that he's racist for giving Tony D'Angelo a platform to speak. Everybody deserves their shot to speak and defend themselves after they go through something like this.
Yes,
and
dude.
What if Tony D'Angelo wanted to come out and apologize? Then Brooksie would have given him the platform to do it. And shouldn't we let Tony D'Angelo come out and apologize and say what he did was fucking stupid?
Yeah, and then it's like if you then decide that you don't forgive Tony D'Angelo, that's fine. You don't have to, but he's allowed to put his thing out. I don't understand. But yeah, man, that kid from that place who used to write in Boston there tried to pin it. And I was just like, Twitter's a battlefield today, man. We got mixed up in the Jimmy Murphy, Mark Madden stuff because of messages Jimmy Murphy has sent to you before.
Yep.
You know what? Mark Madden used to run a ball hockey rink. We went to play a tournament in Pittsburgh. He's a good dude. Used to work for WCW. He was a huge part of the WCW wrestling. Covers stuff in Pittsburgh. Controversial guy. Kind of does negative coverage. Not always a big fan. Possibly sucker punched one of his players in the face and got the game ended fucking 6 minutes early because a huge brawl started. Probably doesn't even really like me that much. But man, these people who always want to cancel everybody are the biggest liars and manipulators in the world. Fuck that Andrew guy. Fuck everybody at Black and Gold. I don't give a fuck about any of you guys because I'm just calling it like it is. Brooksie did a job where he did his job, and now we know both sides. And when I read what D'Angelo said, I thought, he doesn't really care. That's what I thought. I was like, he's just saying everything his agent told him to say. And I wouldn't be able to tell you 100% that Tony D'Angelo doesn't feel bad without Brooksie doing that job. But now I can tell you that, you fucking idiots. Try some critical thinking. I can't stand the way these fake hockey slap dick fucking bloggers out there who don't understand the metrics of this stuff and have never met an actual important person in the game or player think that they can just dominate with their fucking fake moral stuff and everything. Get out of here. Speaking of fake, Jack, our group chat had quite the excuse today.
Oh, this was an all-time greatest one. Couldn't share the content on Facebook. Why don't you tell them why?
Okay, so yeah, we have our interns. We got Noodle, Nick, good kid. Zach Bankus, love Zach. Zach might be my favorite out of all the new guys. Anybody, like, you know what I mean? He might be one of my favorite guys here. He's an electric factory. So
always fired up to work too.
Always, yeah. So these guys, yeah, like I can't say enough good things, but like, bro, this is like, if you work at Tarps off, you're sit in, Bankus. It's about to get a little rocky for you. So we do a Tarps off sports blitz. We did it at first with the interns. They were a little shy. You know what? They were doing them separate, which was a mistake. It's always easier when you have someone to bounce them off of. Bankus comes to me. He's like, we fucking want this. We want to do it. Me and Jack started doing them because we're like, oh, we're not sure. Yep. They do it together. They're great. Love them. I think they do a great job. So Bankus asks me, Jack, this is a part that you're going to learn for the first time here. As the NASCAR race ended last night, he inboxed me and said, can I say fuck on the sports blitz? And I said, yeah, of course you can say fuck on the sports blitz, no problem. So they do it. We're sharing it on our personal pages. So I just say like, hey boys, share it on your personal page. Bankus goes, hey guys, I just realized I can't share it on my Facebook personal page because I cussed and I have my grandma on Facebook. So, first off, How old are you, Bankus? Aren't you a grown man? You said the word fuck one time. B, and listen, if your grandma's like hardcore religious or whatever, that's fine. But B, like, why did you then ask if you could say fuck in the sports blitz? Like, you can say fuck in the sports blitz if you want to say fuck in the sports blitz, but you can't say fuck in the sports blitz if every time you say fuck in the sports blitz, you can't
You
share
can't
your
share it.
content. So you know what, Bankus? I don't know. I don't know. I think the guys in the fraternity got to do something to Bankus for this. I'm gonna have to talk. Maybe we get a paddle or something. Maybe he's got to get a live paddling on the ass from the fraternity or something. I'm gonna have to make a call down to the fucking TKE fucking people, the teaks down there, man, and figure out what the fuck's going on.
But the other mistake he made was he put it in the group chat. We got Nick Germano in that group chat.
Yeah, so of course he puts that in there. We laugh. Me and Jack are honestly howling because we're about to record this. We know we're gonna bring it up. We're like, poor Bankus is gonna learn that like we bust nuts around here. As we're saying that, Germano just in the chat just goes, "It's us or the grandma."
It's us or the grandma, not your grandma.
Not your grandma. It's us or the
us
grandma.
or the grandma.
And that's where I was like, okay, I think Bankus has an idea of where this is going. But legitimately, shout out to Bankus and Noodle. They do a great job with the sports blitz. But Zach, in the future, don't say fuck if you can't share it. Like, I don't want to upset your grandma. You know, maybe just leave the f bombs to me and Jack. Then we'll take care of it.
We got those.
We don't want it to be any sort of serious situations. Now, speaking of a serious situation, how funny. I mean, listen, I mean, it's never really funny when it's a serious situation. Let me reword it. How fucking hilarious is it that Stamkos posts that fucking photo of all of the Tampa Bay Lightning players together watching the Super Bowl? Of course, they had their masks on for the picture. They learned the first time when they did the jet ski video, right? So, of course, it was masks on for 5 seconds for the picture. 1 week later, Stamkos on the COVID reserve list. Like, and the best part is when they took that picture, I you know me, I'm a big believer and we should just open it up and, you know, get these vaccines rolling. Let's fire it up. But when it came out, I was giving it to Kyle O'Howe because we like to Tampa Bay and Boston banter anytime we can. And I was saying to him, I was like, wow, all the guys out together again. They're super spreading COVID. And like, dude, you just know when you're out in public and in a big group like that, like just the way this year's gone for the NHL and everything, like that was going to blow up in their face. Noted Tarps off hater, Samantha CP on Twitter had she hates Tarps off, but I saw this because people were liking it. It was a fire tweet, actually. It was like how it started, how it's going. And it was like his tweet with the picture, then his tweet, like thanking everybody for showing him support during his COVID recovery. It was actually, that was a funny thing. I know.
Credit where credit's due.
Oh, yeah. Oh, bro. It was honestly like credit where it's due. I read it, I hit like, and then I was like, oh, this girl's going to think I'm creeping her shit because we don't like each other. It's just, or whatever. Like, I don't not like anybody, but you know what I mean? So like, she definitely doesn't like me. And like, I was just like, fuck, that's a bad look. And I was going to take the like away, but I was like, I respected the tweet. It was exactly what I was thinking. I wasn't on Twitter too much, so when I saw that, I was like, "That's fucking perfect." That was honestly one of the most perfect tweets ever. Life comes at you fast.
Life comes at you fast.
You know, I felt like it was Groundhog Day with Tampa Bay getting COVID again. They got COVID during the friggin' playoffs. COVID here. Speaking of Groundhog Day, Jack, we have a 7th game in a row, and it actually is like if this was the playoffs, we would have ourselves a Game 7 tonight.
Yeah, this is the least electric Game 7 in NHL history.
Facts, bro.
This series has been brutal from a gambling standpoint. If your name is Jack Gotsell, Clayton Keller, my boy, BU kid, absolutely destroyed my parlay with 1 second left in the game. But yeah, they're playing. I mean, how bored are you if you're a Blues or Coyotes fan and you're literally playing the same team for the 7th time in a row?
Yeah, man. I don't understand. Like, how many more times can we see? And like, bro, it's not like the division is the North Division and all the teams got COVID except for Toronto and Montreal or Boston and the Rangers, who have been building a nice little rivalry within their division. Like, man, it's the fucking St. Louis Blues and Arizona Coyotes, Part 7. Like, Like, talk about a fucking snooze fest, dude. An absolute snooze fest.
I just feel so bad for the Blues fans. Like you're stuck playing the Coyotes 7 times in a row.
Yeah, insanity, man. I don't have. I mean, I don't even know what the record has been before for the league, but certainly this is a record of teams playing each other in a row. I'm sure some crazy shit had to happen during the original six. I'm sure during the last pandemic, 1918, there was some hockey league going on and some shit had to happen or whatever too. I'm
With
not
the
a
Spanish
historian.
flu.
We're not going there. I have no idea. But speaking of history and it repeating itself, Ryan Dzingle, welcome to Hotel Eugene Melnick. You
Poor
can
guy.
check out, but you can never leave. Dzingle back traded from the Hurricanes to Ottawa. They send Galchenyuk and Paquette. The Hurricanes automatically put Galchenyuk on waivers, who was on his sixth team in 3 years. Clearly, there's some disconnect there for that kid. He's getting the old Ryan Spooner treatment before going out of the league. Tough to watch for him. But you know what? I was feeling bad for Dzingle at first. I saw Bugsy put a blog on the website saying,
Oh, I still feel bad for him.
Dzingle deserves better. But man, he seems. And listen, I know there's times where people would just say all the right things or whatever, but if you're going to get traded, at least you get traded, where the equipment guys and the people around the arena and some of the guys on the team and in the
Oh, they're one or two in the worst teams in the NHL. It's between them and Detroit.
I
Like that's
know,
all.
I know. I'm trying to make it okay for Dzingle, who said all the right things, and he said it's awesome, and he's glad to be back. He said all the right things for sure.
That makes me feel worse for him. That makes me think he's a really good guy that doesn't deserve to go back to Ottawa.
I know, man. I know. It's like it's never better the second time. And speaking of that, rumors around right now, crazy. My phone was going this morning. I'm sure it's already out there by now. The Pittsburgh Penguins desperately, man, are trying to add a veteran goaltender that they believe they could maybe get a team to keep some money on, somebody to give them a little more stability between the pipes. Probably should have been Marc Andre Fleury. He's sitting at a 7-1-1 record so far this year for the Vegas Golden Knights. Flower is back. It's been unbelievable to watch, but look for Pekarine's name. Pecorine could be on the move this season, and I think Pecorine and the Pittsburgh Penguins are a very, very good match. So I think that's something that people should definitely keep an eye on, and keep an eye on it in the next 48 to 72 hours. I'm not saying that it's going to happen, but it's the infrastructure has been discussed. I'll say that much.
I personally think it's another dumb move from Pittsburgh. I think they should just focus on rebuilding. You're not going to win the Stanley Cup this year. I
No,
mean,
but dude, they
maybe this
have to
will
try to
come
avoid
back to bite me, but I'm going to go out and say that this is not their year.
No, and like, dude, you're not even. This isn't even a setup for a Jack thing, because I saw Brian Burke before he left Sportsnet to go and take the hockey ops job. They said, like, you've been critical of the Penguins, and he's like, yeah, it's no secret we're not the best team in the league. Like, yeah, man, he was like, he understands where they sit. He said Sidney Crosby's untouchable, and I think that to probably be true. Now, I think they'll have the conversation and ask him if he wants to even go through a rebuild, because they should start the rebuild. You got Chris Letang next year entering the last year of his deal, as well as Evgeny Malkin. And call me silly. Am I just not high on Malkin anymore? Like, I'm just not. I'm just not.
Did you
Am I
see
am I am I fucked up?
that lazy play he made the other night where like the puck was
Dude, I've
was
seen him. Yes, I caught that on Twitter, and he was getting trolled for it by the Pittsburgh base, which he should have been, but I've seen that a lot in the last 2 years. I'm not saying that. Listen, oh, just God, you got to watch what you say these days. You don't want to be Don Cherry being like, oh, these Russian guys don't quit, because I don't usually say that stuff. They'll just quit on you. They're from Russia. They're Ruskies. Shout out Don Cherry. Fucking love that guy. But I'm going to be Don Cherry for a sec here. I've always had, you saw it with Kovalev in Montreal. He got that whiny, bad attitude when Russians in their 30s don't like losing hockey games.
No.
And I think Evgeny Malkin will welcome that change. Now, if Malkin goes and Letang goes, that's obviously the start of a rebuild, and you're going to have that conversation with Sidney Crosby. That's all. We'll see. And if anybody could, what, Brian Burke is such a big fan. He just missed him when it was the draft lottery for Crosby. Ducks got Bobby Ryan second overall. They missed Sidney Crosby by one pick. He's been salty about that. He just might want to keep him forever, but the Pittsburgh Penguins are open for business, like right away. Stuff is going to start happening. Stuff is going to start
And teams
coming
are going to
down.
be interested in Malkin as well. Because if I'm a championship caliber team, if I'm trading for Malkin, I'm expecting to get that Malkin that we
Oh
saw
yeah, that
3
we
years
saw
ago.
carry them when Sidney Crosby was down with the concussion. I mean, for like almost a year and a half, it was Malkin's team.
Yeah, so even if Malkin's not playing well, I don't think it makes his value go down at all, to be
No,
honest.
no, dude. A lot of teams would love to take a crack at Evgeny Malkin, including the Montreal Canadiens, including a team quite possibly like the Colorado Avalanche if the price was right on a one. Like I don't, they couldn't sign him to keep him, but certainly if he moves this year or next year, they could squeeze him in, man. They got some time before they got to throw out big cash, I think. So,
Yeah.
we'll certainly see Evgeny Malkin though. Evgeny Malkin in a Montreal Canadiens jersey. I don't know. Something just feels right about that matchup. Just like Kovalev, just like they kind of like that thing.
Oh, I don't want to see him go to Montreal, but
Radulov, they
yeah,
Kovalchuk, they take these guys.
I know they do.
Not that Ovechkin is ever going to leave Washington. I just don't see it. I'm not trying to be Dean Blundell, who thinks that he's a Russian spy for Vladimir Putin, and that's why he'll never leave Washington. But I just think he won't leave Washington. He said that before, bro. It's hilarious. Um, I think he won't leave Washington because he's done so much there. They're still in a position to win. But if Ovechkin ever hit the free agency market, I would bet my left, right, and center nuts that he would sign with the Montreal Canadiens.
Montreal. Yeah, and I mean, you saw Kovalchuk go there too. Ovechkin likes to do basically whatever Kovalchuk does. I mean, they're buddies.
No, that's what I mean. And like they loved Kovalev and they've grabbed Radulov when he came back into the league. They take those chances. Mark Bergevin does. If Evgeny Malkin comes available in trade, whether it's in free agency for a year, holy crap, I got people outside my house here blasting horns. Might go down there and grab someone and put the jersey over their head and just fucking give it to them in a second here. They keep honking their horn during our video, Jack. Getting me fired up. Speaking of fired up, shout out to Blue Line Hockey Club. Good podcast, friends of ours. Lardy, greatest guy in the world. His nephew is Jordan Greenway. Big anniversary for him. What was it? 3 years ago now, since he became the first African American hockey player to play for Team USA. Shout out
In
to
the
Greenway on
Olympics.
the
Yep.
For the Olympics. Yeah. Of course, the junior team in that. But for the Olympic men's team, I saw that on Twitter. I wanted to put the little congrats in there because we love the Blue Line Hockey Club podcast, guys. Check that podcast out. Make sure you keep coming back for Get the Puck Out on the tarpsoffsports.com network. Jack Gotsell, tell them where you can be found on Twitter. I almost was going to say your thing, but you do it.
You can find me on Twitter at Jack Gotsell, JackGotsell.
And you can find me on Twitter at cmancuso9797, Tarps Off Hockey _ on Twitter, and Tarps Off Sports on Twitter as well, and whatever other platforms we got these interns set up for. Take care, guys.